Hello, I'm Lucy, and I'm going to show you how to make this adorable little house. This little, I made it as a Halloween house. It's got a stone stencil on it, and I'm going to show you how to construct it. It's a beautiful pattern that's really easy to do, and so that you have a tower in the center, and I just love the effect. So I'm going to show you with a cardstock model because it's easier. I first made this pattern about 5 years ago, and I finally got around to making the pattern. It's from a friend of mine who's on the Cardboard Christmas Forum. He included the pattern for this, to make this kind of unique building, and I'll include a link in the description to both my blog, paperglitterglue.com, and to the original pattern so you can see how I've changed it. But anyway, I want to show you how it's constructed because it's in such a unique manner, and I think you will really enjoy making a little house like this. So these are the main piece. This is the main piece. This is the back piece. There's the steeple. These are the two roof pieces. And I've added a couple of pieces to make it easier for you to add the roof, and that's what these are. They kind of function as a little lip to support the roof. So I'll show you how that works in a minute. And then if you want to add shingles to the tower, like this, it's much easier to do the shingles on a separate triangle and then just cut them out and glue them to the steeple. So I've tried to do a lot of things that make it easier for you, and there are even shingles in the pattern, and in addition to a stone stencil if you want to do it. I use cardboard when I use the stone stencil, but for this demonstration I'm going to show you how to make it with cardstock just because it's easier to glue for now. All right, so this is my front piece. So what I do first is glued the back piece on the door. And you can do other door shapes if you like. And it's kind of designed, if you don't want the door in the center, you don't have to. So glue that there. Then the windows. There is a tiny trick to it for the windows. Sometimes it's hard to see if you've centered it properly, so it's easier to look on the back side. That's one reason. That's one reason I decorate it before I glue the little house together. I cut my house out on a Cricut, on an electric cutting machine. There are other brands. There's a Scan and Cut. There is the other relatively common one is the Silhouette, the Cameos. That works too. But I just kind of started with the Cricut, and that's what I know. It makes it so much easier to cut out, especially little decorative pieces like this, or to cut out windows and stuff. I'm using a lightweight glue. So for the cardstock version, the lightweight glue works very well for gluing everything on. But when I'm making a cardboard version, I actually use a stronger glue to assemble the house itself. And this, I'm calling this the stone clock house. And I've got cutouts for the clock. And that will be linked in my blog post. Okay, let's glue these support pieces on. And I cut this little triangle out so you can line them up very easily. The cardstock I used is 65-pound cardstock for the house itself and the windows and stuff. But I did use stronger cardstock for the roof and the steeple. I used 110 pound, but you could use 65 pound, it'll work. So for the main body of the house, that's how you decorate it. And then let me just show you a little bit for decorating the, get some of my shingles. I edged them with I inked them with a little bit of black ink just to show the outline a little bit. So this is one layer, and then I've got a staggered layer, kind of offset. So you can see how the stagger goes. You have to, in the pattern, there's 1 page of shingles, and it takes, if you're going to do shingles on the roof as well as the steeple, it takes about 2 sheets of shingles. So you do have to do some cutting to do that. But anyway, that's how that goes. And the same way, you glue them to the triangle, so you can glue them to the steeple. Let me show you. We'll just trim that. So let's trim this, and you can see how nicely it fits. It's much easier than trying to glue the shingles on when they're on top of the angle each one. It's much simpler to do it this way. And then glue to the back. And just make sure it stays down. And see, that's gonna look good. So those are those two are the roof pieces that are decorated. Now let's glue the house together, and I'll show you how easy it is. So this type of house I call an inset house because the back piece is inset on the front piece. So that way the glue seam is in the back. It makes for a very sturdy house. These cutouts are to allow any light for your little house to go through the side window. And there are a couple of ways to hold it while you're gluing other pieces. I like these little clips. The other thing, you can tape it with cardstock. Sometimes the tape will peel up the cardstock. But I use painter's tape. I'm just going to lightly apply it so I can do the other side. So you don't want that opening up. And you do the same effect up here. So let's apply glue to the back piece. Make sure it's even. Line up these top edges and the back edge. And use a little clip. And that's the main structure of the house. And see how neatly it makes the tower in the center. I just love that effect. All right, we'll let that dry. I've got one that's already completed. This one's dry. Oh, I forgot, there's the clock. This is I don't know if you can see it, it's a 13-hour clock. I did that because for this demonstration, I'm making a Halloween house. All right, so next, let's glue the roof pieces on. I've got some with the shingles already applied. It curled a little from the glue. Let's straighten them. Apply glue. I'm going to apply glue to these tabs here and along this edge. So you just kind of slide it in place, and this cardstock piece in the center will support this side of the roof. Otherwise, it will tend to kind of slant. Support it with just a little painter's tape. Let's do this side. Hope you can see how much that little triangular piece helps to support the roof. Sometimes, let me take this off just a second so I can show you, the tip moves a little bit, so you can just kind of gently push it in. You see it sticks out at the top, but it really doesn't matter much. It's not a detail you see very easily, but you can alter it a little bit. This one's good. All right, so now we've added our roof pieces, and now we simply add the steeple. And I've done the steeple already, added the sections. Now all I do is apply a pretty liberal amount of glue here. You want it to drip to the inside, not the outside, if it's going to drip. And then apply the steeple. Check to make sure it's even. So that it looks straight. And that's really how you construct the stone clock house. All right, I'm going to show you a little bit more about the base. The fencing is in the pattern as well. And I did make the fencing out of cardstock. The rest of the house is cardboard, but I made this out of cardstock because there's such detail. It's hard to cut out of cardboard, so I used cardstock, and I glued 3 layers together. So it's a pretty stable little fence. And then the bottom has an opening for a light. You can also put in a light this way. You could put in a light before and kind of glue those little mini LED lights inside. And then this is just layers of corrugated cardboard, hot glued together, and then I cover them with paper, and I always like this distressing. So anyway, that's my base, and I'll link to how to make a base for a house too. But basically, that's how you make the stone stencil clock house. I have a separate video for the stone stenciling. So I do hope you'll try it. It's an incredible pattern from my friend Howard at the Cardboard Christmas Forum, and I'll put all the links in the description below. Okay, I hope you have a good day creating. Bye.